Well, good morning, retailers. I am Scott Morris. I am the Director of Business Development for GTS Distribution on the gaming side, and we're here with one of our best and biggest exclusive partners, Board and Dice, out of Poland and Utah, because that's where Rainer is. So Irek is in Poland, and it's late afternoon, early evening for him. Rainer is in Utah. We were just having a discussion, actually, and you'll see as we go through, I'm waiting for someone to ask on the retail side. Rainer has his games both horizontal and vertical. So as you can tell, he's a man of all tastes, which is awesome. But no, we're here today to talk about some really awesome games. So we've got a couple of new releases that we're going to talk about that are actually releasing tomorrow, the 22nd. And is really exciting because that was the same day as what Spiel was going to be, the very first day of Essen Spiel. So this was originally all planned to be released that first day, but obviously Essen is digital now, it's not physical. So we're still going to release on the same day, and we're going to be talking about those. We're also going to be talking about two games that are going to be coming out soon, one of which is an expansion, which you may have just heard us talk about in the pregame show here for Teotihuacan, and the other is what I have been told by many independent reviewers, one of their most anticipated games for 2021 with Mandala Stones, which I think is an absolutely gorgeous physical game, but it's also an unbelievably beautiful, easy game to play and pick up. So I think that one's going to be really, really popular. With that, as always, like I like to remind everybody, everything is on the table. You're welcome to ask any kind of questions you would like. The easiest way to do that, you can hover over your video window and there is a little chat bubble. You can open that up and give a chat message to either the panelists, which are myself, Irek, and Rainer, or you can send a message to all panelists and attendees so the other retailers can see your question as well. As always, guys, you don't have to worry about messing around with that. I'll manage that and shoot you any kind of questions as we go along and jump into the conversation. But with that, I'm going to take my face that was made for radio. I'm going to let it be quiet, and I will let you guys take over with the presentation and all the good stuff. So thank you guys for your time, and the floor is all yours.
Thank you. And I will only say good evening from Poland.
Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to our presentation today. So my name is Rainer, and Irek and I have some very exciting things that we'd like to share with you today. The focus of that is both the two games that you see on the right, Tawantinsuyu and Escape Tales Children of Wyrmwoods, which are the ones that are releasing tomorrow. And then on the left, you see the expansion for Teotihuacan, as well as Mandala Stones, which are the first releases of 2021 from us. Just to give you an update on the current timeline of things, so we have had here over the summer, we had a reprint of the expansion for Teotihuacan Shadow Shitle, which was restocked in July. We have restock pending of Traintopia, as well as for Teotihuacan. So the expected ETA for Teotihuacan is in January of 2021. That's also when the restock will happen of Tawantinsuyu, which is actually good news. I mean, this is a game that has not yet released in the United States, but it is already, the first print run is already sold out, both in North America and in the rest of the world as well. So there will be a restock coming for January of 2021. So we are well on top of that and the expectations and the excitement for that game. And then, of course,
I can only add here that we are also planning an additional print right now in the November. So Tawantinsuyu also will be included in this reprint. So there should not be an issue with this title on the market at all.
Correct. And then, of course, both of these, in any pre-orders and so forth, of course, both of these are currently in the GTS warehouse. So if you have not received your pre-orders, those should be on the way to you. Also, just an overview in numbers. So Teotihuacan is the best-selling traditional board game from us. It came out in 2018. It's currently ranked number 60 on BGG. About 40,000 copies sold, or I should say over 40,000 copies sold worldwide and in 11 languages so far. As far as the Escape Tale series, which is now on its third game with Children of Wyrmwoods, it has sold over 100,000 copies worldwide in 13 languages. And we have the new releases Teotihuacan and Tawantinsuyu, and even though they are so new, Teotihuacan just releasing in September, early September, and Tawantinsuyu now. They have sold over 24,000 copies and in 9 languages so far, but that's a constantly increasing number with each of the upcoming print runs. Now, to talk a little bit about, this is something that is both a tongue-in-cheek comment and something that is also used to describe, people often talk about it, particularly these heavier Euro games as the T line of games, because they have in common that they deal with some ancient civilization. They have a title that begins with the letter T, and this is obviously also not only is it something that we are happy to participate in the tongue-in-cheek comments about it, but it's also a very deliberate line of games, and especially one of the things that that sets these games apart and that they have in common is the fact that they set reliable expectations for users. The way that these games approach the theme and the mechanisms are, while the games are very different when you play them, they have a consistent quality and level of the approach, how they deal with the theme, how they incorporate the mechanisms, and how those things work together is a consistent and reliable expectation. And they're also comparable weight and gameplay experience. So if someone likes the weight and the heaviness of Teotihuacan, for example, they are likely to also enjoy Teotihuacan and Tawantinsuyu. They're very similar in terms of the people that they appeal to, even though the games themselves are very different from each other. Let's take a closer look at Tawantinsuyu. And this is the one that is now releasing tomorrow, and designed by David Turczi. And he is both well known in the hobby as a designer, but he also has a very close ties to the gaming community, to media, and so forth. Very active, which also helps with the communication with fans and other people that both enjoy his designs and this game in general. Tawantinsuyu, we talked about when we went over this briefly during the last webinar. It has a design that, even though it feels very fresh, when you sit down to the game, how it presents itself and how it plays, while it stays familiar, so that you can say, okay, now that I understand the rules, now I know what to expect. Okay, this is how the game plays. It uses familiar mechanisms and it uses things that gamers are feel comfortable in that environment, but it also presents itself as a very innovative and fresh and modern design. Several of the things that it introduces, yes, it features worker placement, but it has worker placement where the workers are not removed from the board, but rather the way that they stay on the board, where they were placed, will affect future placements on the board. Yes, it has resources that you are gathering, but the way you use those resources and how you evaluate them, they have multiple uses, not just to construct certain buildings that then have abilities, but rather the resources themselves also have certain abilities that they can be spent for and traded in for certain advancements and so forth. And again, if someone is a fan of games like Teotihuacan, they should feel both comfortable as far as the mechanisms goes, but also as far as the theme and the general feeling that these games present. It is worth to highlight that this game, as well as all of the games of this weight, they do have a solo mode. In this case, David Turczi himself designed the solo mode, and it's been very well received from people that have had a chance to play it, particularly media partners that did some playthroughs with early review copies that they were receiving.
One thing I'd like to point out real quick on Tawantinsuyu, this game is an absolutely gorgeous game when it comes to table presence. It has a top-down view of this Incan city, and you have all these different colored meeples. And I kind of akin it back to the first time that I ever saw Five Tribes. And the first time I ever saw Five Tribes on the table, I was like, wow, that's a good looking game. Like there's something going on there I want to figure out, and I want to know what's going on. And it had that tactile feel. And I think that Tawantinsuyu has the exact same feel, is that you have all these different colored meeples, all these different areas of the board, but it's not a busy board. It's not a board that you look at and you're like, whoa, what's going on here? Like you can tell very clearly, here's resources, here's where I'm getting things, here's my actions, things like that. The reason I bring that up is I want to make sure everybody knows, so Board and Dice is part of our formal demo program. So while I know that a lot of stores are not having in-store play right now, I know a lot of people are still looking for games to put on display. I've talked to a lot of retailers who have put like glass displays near their front windows and had kind of like how you would go to Gen Con or Essen and see, different publishers would have games on displays in glass cases. That's been a real good option. So if you're looking for something really beautiful and really awesome to have on display, this game is definitely one of those to look at for sure.
And it's also worth mentioning that this one, as well as the other games that we have, are also added, and most of them are available right now on digital platforms such as Tabletopia. So we encourage you to, people that want to experience this, even if they don't have the chance to demo directly in your store, they can then demo this online, and they'll be able to get a feel for what the game is like and so forth. So that's why we've been making sure that those can be on there, so that in these times when in-store demos may not be possible, people should still be able to demo the game before they buy it.
And we are also trying to do as much as we can to promote these games exactly in the same channels. So we are using, for example, Tabletopia to promote the games during Spiel Digital. So I think this is a good path, and we are also not closing any access to these games, so everyone can check it, and if they like it, they can easily go to the friendly local gaming store and purchase a copy. So I think this is a good move in these hard times.
Yep.
And
we have. Well, I was just gonna say, we have also been demoing this directly to media partners, and not just partners that are close partners to us, right? But we have been demoing this to media in general, anyone big or small, since basically April, early May. We've been showing this off as well. So they have, and in fact, Scott, that's one of the times when you had a chance to see it was in a digital version. And we've been demoing this, basically on a regular basis. Every week we do demos with various media partners. Right now we are demoing also games that are coming out next year and so forth. So we are definitely pushing for this to make sure that they, even though we send out review copies, right? A lot of the people that had a chance to see it, they already have their actual physical review copy. But this way, they had a chance to, particularly for media partners that are maybe multiple reviewers that are part of their group or their brand, they had a chance to play it together with us. So that has been very successful, and also built towards, it's clear that with the first print run being sold out, that this had a positive effect on early anticipation of the game.
Yeah, and a good thing to point out is that, with Essen obviously being online only, and the same thing coming up in a couple of weeks with Board Game Geek Con, those are the two conventions where a lot of the alpha gamers and the heavy, real strategy type gamers dig in, and they are looking for something new, and they're looking for the big new releases. This is definitely one of those games that would hit those buttons, right? If you have the traditional hobby gamers, the alpha, I love strategy Euro gamers, this is right up their alley. And obviously, like Rainer and Irek had said, Teotihuacan has been a bestseller for them. It's been one of our top selling games consistently for the last 3 years plus. This is a game that's right up that alley. So if you have people in your store that have bought Teotihuacan or played Teotihuacan and enjoyed it, just like Tekenu's success earlier this year, this one is supposed to be just as good. And I have my own personal copy back here, as you can see over my shelf. And as Rainer said, I did have the chance to play it online. This is a game that is both deceptively easy and yet really, really deep in strategy, which I think personally that's David's kind of claim to fame, is he has this ability to make a game that is really, really easy to pick up and look at and go, okay, these are my actions. And then by turn 2, you're like, ooh, I have all this opened up to me now. I have all this opened up to me now. And it's really, really cool. So it's good stuff.
The fun fact is that a lot of gamers like the solo modes from David, and I do remember how people react when they know that the solo mode, for example, for Teo or for Takenu, is designed by David. It's an insta buy for them. So here we have the game by his design and also by his solo mode. So I think this can be also an advantage for this product as well.
And we are for Spiel Digital, we will be doing, we have scheduled over 150 hours of demos. And of course, all the demos that we are running they're not full gameplays, but rather enough for someone to get an understanding of the rules and to get a feel for the gameplay. So we're looking forward to the impact that will have as well on the sales and the release. I also want to draw your attention to a few links here. So obviously with several of our media partners, there have been tutorials and teach and playthroughs that have been published so far. Jonathan Cox of John Gets Games did an excellent tutorial with Tawantinsuyu that in detail explains the game as you go. There was a teach and playthrough, and in fact they have a cardboard teach and playthrough. I taught the game on there, and it was very well received. People felt like it was easy to understand the rules from that teach and so forth. And Edward also subsequently did a solo playthrough as well. And then, of course, you have a detailed review and overview of the game by Man vs. Meeple that spent a lot of time talking about not only how the game looks, but how it feels to play it, and analyzing some of the differences between this and Tekenu and so forth. And we also had a playthrough with Meeple University as well that was done online on Tabletopia. So those are available, and those are things that you can either use for your own information, along with also the access, as always, to the media kit, which has a lot of details in there, including images and other information that you can use, as well as access to the digital rulebook. And if you need anything else in order to be able to sell and present this game or to get information about it, don't hesitate to contact us directly. You have the email for Irek there on the screen, or you can also reach us simply by contacting your GTS sales rep. Now let's talk about the Escape Tales line. So this is a line of games there are escape rooms, basically in a story-driven form. We had The Awakening, which was released in 2018, followed up with Low Memory last year, and then this year we have Children of Wyrmwoods. And the best way to describe them, both as far as describing what to expect, but also a good way to explain to people who may be interested, who like these types of games. This is really a next step escape room experience. The traditional ones that you have that are escape rooms, whether that be unlock or exit, those are traditional, your 1 hour or so, 1 hour plus maybe, of games that you play. They have puzzles for you to solve, and then after that, it's basically an evening of playing, and you've experienced that game. Whereas these ones they offer very deep and immersive gameplay. You have, starting with the Awakening and now all the way through Children of Wyrmwoods, three very different storylines. I can't remember now what it says. In fact, I can look on the next. Yeah, so it says 450 plus minutes on the side of the box for Children of Wyrmwood. So this is not something that you just quickly play through and okay, no, there's enough gameplay in here to allow you hours of exploration, diving deep into a story, and where you control how you explore the game, you control where you go next, and you all the decisions that you make, the puzzles that you solve, everything that you experience in the game is both highly thematic and affects the outcome of the game.
If we look at the whole series at the whole series right now in Escape Tales, Children of Wyrmwood, we went even one step further. We engaged there a character development system. So basically, solving the puzzles, getting the new items you can achieve in the game. You can expand your character, your abilities. You have additional people who you can save, and this also has an influence on your character. What more, in the game you can find items which you found during the game. So a lot of more regarding to what we had in the series. This game really gives you a long hours of play and fun. I would easily compare it to a kind of point and click game plus a lot of I don't know, dungeon crawling, because you have the location you need to go through plus the open exploration mode with the map inside. Oh my gosh, it's really huge game.
Yeah, for 35 bucks, there's a massive amount of stuff here. So I have my copy over my shoulder here. And when I started playing, I've played the other two, obviously, of course. There's always been a very strong connection to the characters that are in the game. But this kind of role-playing style of this, where you have a character that you're developing, even if you're just playing solo or if you're playing with multiple people, you get invested in that person and you want to see them do specific things and achieve certain things throughout the game. It's a little hard to talk about because you don't want to spoil anything, but the decisions in this game felt much more dramatically connecting to the characters than either of the previous games. The previous games, you had the characters and you were engaged and you did want them to do things, but there's almost this like personal sense of belonging with the character. With the, I don't want to give anything away. His name is Galen, but I don't want to give anything away past that.
Well, I think a good way to describe it is that in the previous two, you were more observing what was happening. You were observing the story, whereas now you feel you have the character stats in front of you. You make a decision, and immediately that impacts your stats. You don't see yet how this will impact the rest of the story, but there was an immediate change to something regarding your character, and you just know that, oh man, this decision that I made, for better or worse, will now have an impact on other things. So it immediately tells you that there are new things that will happen in the game. There are ways that your decisions will have a very significant impact on the rest of the story. And so it gives you more of that immersive experience compared to the previous two.
Yeah,
and
that's a
also,
great way to say it.
I think also that even people often ask, okay, what if I have do I have to have played the first two to play this one? No, you don't. You can jump straight in here. Well, what if I have played the other two? Will this just be more of the same? No, it will not either. Yes, the way you play the game from a mechanical point of view, that remains the same. It's card driven. There's a story. There's a storybook where you look things up. There's an app where you enter the solutions to the puzzles, and that gives you information. But with every game, there's added things. There are new ways. Like Irek was saying, now there are items that you find. Well, you can combine those items with your character. Now you get a special code that you can enter into the app, and sometimes that will give you clues to things. There are more ways for you to interact with the environment. It's not just going from room to room and solving puzzles, but sometimes you will get something that is not just for that room, but items that you keep with you that will be useful later, or that if you don't run across a place that you could use it at, you always have that feeling, oh man, I remember this item that I picked up earlier. I should try to use that here. So you have more ways to inspire your imagination and to feel more connected with the story. And just to one thing that they share as well, this is not just a a programmed way where you will go from point A to point B. You have to solve the puzzles to get there. No, there are multiple endings, and this has dramatically increased with Children of Wyrmwoods as well. Over 60 different possible endings. Now, not all of them are dramatically different from one another, but they are different based on the choices that you have made. There are several very pivotal points in the story where you have a decision to make that will lead you to a dramatically different type of ending. And then other choices along that way and along that path will then dictate how that ending really impacts that. So basically, a good way of looking at it is that whereas the previous two also had different endings, this one sets you on first a number of very distinct paths, and then within those paths you have endings that are as significant and different from each other that any one of the endings from one of the previous games.
And this actually answers a few questions which Derek just sent us on the
Yep.
chat. Are the escape tapes replayable? And actually, I would compare it to a good computer game. If you are playing an RPG game on the computer, well, you finished it once, but after a while, you can easily go with a bit different path, and you will end up with a different ending. You can find different items. You are closing some of the paths, so thanks to that, you are opening new riddles. Of course, sometimes you will meet exactly the same elements in the game because sometimes the paths are crossing each other. But in the end, this game is replayable, especially if you will look at the combinations of items you can do, at the exploration you can get in the game, and different places you can visit. There are different paths you can go. So Children of Wyrmwoods is totally replayable. Of course, you still need to remember that you won't find in every play, you won't find everything that is exactly a new thing. You will meet some things you know from the past, from the past plays. But in the end, also what is important, you are not destroying any elements from the game. So when you will finish it and you want to let go the game, you can easily do that as well. So you don't have any destroying in the game. The next question is, do you need to play all the way through one city? No, you have a save sheet in the box, so you can easily put the cards, the order in the box. And note the very important things in the specially prepared saving sheet. And actually, from my experience, unpacking the game again is like up to 1 minute, and you are ready to play. The app is remembering your choices, so as long as you won't clear up all the cookies from the web browser, because this is a web app, you don't need to install anything on your mobile or on your computer. It will remember your decisions. And the last question, do you need to play with the same group? Well, what we recommend is to play, the count of players is between 1 and 4 players. If you decide to go with a group, it's good to go with the same group. But if you want to go through the whole story as one player and sometimes get on board people help you out with the riddles or to join you on some evenings, you can easily do that. They will feel the theme, they will feel the vibe, but you can focus on the game in the end. So yeah, I think I covered all the questions here.
I think you did. Yeah. Just as an additional one, I just got one here through Facebook. If some of you may have noticed that on the slides, there are links to the media kits and the rule books and things like that. Irek did send me the presentation. So after this is over, I'll be sending that presentation out to everybody. And then we'll also link to it in the YouTube video as well. So whether you're here live, you'll know you'll get it. And whether you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to pull that up and go grab those. The media kits are really awesome. A lot of retailers ask us about, what kind of resources are available for them to be able to use. And the media kits are a great way for you guys to make your own like Facebook posts or banners or Twitter posts or Instagram posts or TikTok posts or whatever the 500 different platforms are. We can get a hold of each other on social media, but Board and Dice does a great job of providing assets and information for retailers. So we'll make sure to get that out to everybody.
I just want to say as well that the comparison with an open world exploration video game or role playing game is a good comparison here, because that gives you a good answer to should I play this with the same group of people, or how will this, what's the experience? You can go through the game and quickly realize that, oh, I am now ready to proceed to the next step. I have the information that I need. I collected the items. But you can also go on side quests. You can allow yourself to get distracted. You can go and explore everything, knowing that the longer you take in the game, not necessarily the physical time that it takes, but the more in-game time that you spend on things, that will potentially also impact the outcome of the game, which is why there's a sense of urgency, and you will be leaving things behind. You will be leaving things unexplored, which is why going through it a second time, you can then focus on those things. Now you know the overall story, you know roughly how much time you have on different things. And you can say, you know what, last time I was in this location, in particular because a lot of these places are bigger areas to explore than we have had before. You can now give yourself the room to say, you know what, last time I did not even look in this area. I did not go and explore what these different places and elements had to offer. I'm going to do that now. And that also gives you the sense of, if someone is not with you from the beginning, they certainly, it's probably more so a matter of the fact that they would want to be with you, right? They would want to be part of it. And also this is something that will be available in a digital form as well. So if it's difficult to get people together physically, this one lends itself better than most to be played in a virtual format. You can have one person that has, particularly if you have a webcam or so that can be moved around, you can zoom in on certain items. You can allow people to look at the cards more close up, but you can also have a situation where people, one person maybe has access to the physical copy of the game. Other people that are joining it can join virtually on Tabletopia, and you can actually play at the same time, then revealing all the same items and same cards and everything. So this is a game that lends itself very well to both being played with the same group, just because it has a very immersive story that people will want to be part of, but also has the flexibility. You don't have to. You can play this in multiple sittings with multiple groups, and you can also allow people to be part of this even if they're not physically present.
A good example of how the game works is prepared by Edward from Heavy Cardboard Jungle, from Heavy Cardboard, because I do remember how he played even without knowing the brand, right? How he,
Yep.
In a fast way, how he pop up the game from the box and he started to play. So you can easily check it out also on his YouTube channel. how this works. And I think I do remember that he prepared this for the Awakening and for low memory as well.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, and I had told him, saying, because he had asked, he likes these types of games, and I say, you know what, this would be work well for you to play with the people that are watching. And he said, okay, well, what do I need to, I haven't played this before, do I need to, nah, just open the box and start playing. So he had not even played the game before at all when he opened it and did his stream, and using the very few simple instructions in the rule book, he was able to get playing immediately and engage the people in the chat with this, and have an experience where they were able to participate, even being completely remote, and just watching the stream and stuff. And that was very, and same thing with BGG Game Night. They were also playing this, where they had several virtual participants and so forth. All right, let's now we've talked about a lot of these things of what it does, but this is also here in text form for you. Afterwards, we talk about all the things that this adds and how it expands the experience with both its setting and the types of puzzles, and the overall experience that is much deeper and more involved than the previous games in these series. But now we would like to talk to you about some of the plans for the future. So what you see here is basically an outline of the releases for next year. And the ones that are the most immediate is the expansion for Teotihuacan, which is Q1, basically late February, early March. And then we have in Q2, so April, May timeframe for Mandala Stones. And then it will be an August release for Zapotec and an October release for Origins First Builders. These are games that, even though we are obviously focusing during Spiel Digital, we basically have each of the 4 days, we have a featured game. We play both Tawantinsuyu, Tekenu, Escape Tales, Children of Wyrmwoods, and Traintopia. We're demoing these all 4 days, but each day we have a game that we are focusing on. So for example, on Thursday, we are focusing on Tawantinsuyu. On Friday, we are focusing on Tekenu, and on Saturday, we are focusing on both Escape Tales, Children of Wyrmwoods, and Traintopia. We will also be on Sunday, we will be showing these games off. Now, Mandala Stones, which we'll talk more in detail about, we've already been showing and had tremendous response to previously, but now there will be a chance for gamers in general to have a chance to actually try this out for themselves, as well as Zapotec and Origins, which we have been teasing things on various social media platforms. People have seen them and are anticipating learning more about them. And this is also a chance for you to, if you would like to learn more about the games and so forth, you can join us during Spiel Digital. Whether or not you are registered for the event itself, you can join us directly on our Discord channel. And this is a Discord channel that we use not just for the convention, but we use it throughout the year. And it's a permanent communication platform for us, where we do show off the different games. We talk about it. We often tease a few things in there that we don't always necessarily share out in public or on our social media platforms. So this is a way for you to also learn more about it. And it's you can just join the Discord channel using that link there below. That link is also available on our website, boardanddice.com. You'll see it on the right side where it says that you can join the Discord channel.
So
And this is a way for you to, if you want to also know more details or maybe see some of these things.
Or even talk with us, because we are available during the Spiel Digital almost 24/7 in a 24/7 mode. And actually, maybe not all the time, all of us, but always one of us from the business perspective is always online, or Rainer, or me, or Philip. So we are there to support you and to answer all the questions.
There's something small that I want to point out here too. So Origins, the game Origins, not the show Origins, the game Origins, it's on this slide, is scheduled for this time next year. And you guys already have beautiful artwork, gorgeous box, you have plans for it. One of the things that I constantly get asked from a publishing side of the business is, well, I have a great game. I have a great game. Will you distribute my game? And the attitude that I tend to take is, I'm not so much worried about you having a good game. I'm worried about you being a good business partner. I'm worried about the publishers that we work with, whether they're exclusive or non-exclusive, that they have a business plan and that they're actually operating to that plan, because that means they're going to be in it for the long haul. I cannot tell everybody on this call how many retailers, or sorry, how many publishers that I talk to that don't even know the artwork for their game that's coming out in 6 months, that don't have enough planning and capability to put something like this together where they can say, in October of year X, this is everything we're coming out with in the next year. That's pretty impressive. So it may seem small and it may kind of float past if we didn't bring it up, but I just want to bring up that I think it's really awesome that you guys have focused on a specific plan for releases and plan them out long enough that you're not shotgunning things. You're not doing it from the hip. You're doing it with planned, concise, and a roadmap to get you where you want to go. I've long said, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. And this is a road that you guys clearly know where you're going and where you want to end up, which is awesome.
And all of these games, including Origins, they are, I mean, they are done now, basically.
Yeah,
they are completely done when it comes to game development. We have the majority of the artwork, and in some of these cases, Mandala Stones and Zapotec, they're done. Artwork and everything is ready and prepared to basically send off to print. Now there are certainly things that we talk about, and one of the reasons why they just say Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4 is because even though we know when we will be able to have time at the factory, our overarching marketing plan, everything else, this is not just a matter of when can we have the game ready, but when are we able to put the appropriate marketing behind it, and the games are completed and done much sooner, just so that we can plan. Also, we have plans for how are we going to market these games, when are we going to talk about them, and then of course when it comes to the actual the actual release date, the street date for it, is something that we do then with GTS, where they are our partner. We talk about what's the best date for these games, when should we release them, and so forth. And that's, I think that's an important aspect that you bring up, Scott, because it's we definitely, this is a partnership for us, right? Where we have games and we have plans, but we also make sure that everyone is on board and that we can make these releases as successful as possible.
Well, actually, I will only add to that, because this will be a part of the last part of the presentation here. But our main clue is that, I think the main clue of this business right now is that there is, of course, you can release the game anytime, and when you wish, you can release whatever you want. But to build a proper partnership, and this is something what we really want to do in this business, to be a partner for other companies like distributors, retailers, and other localization partners, is to build up a plan and release this plan with a core values which are behind this. And basically, if you are not able to plan it and to help your partners to sell the games afterwards, you won't make any successful game, or you won't make any game which will pop up out of this, I don't know, 300 games per week, which is releasing right now. So yeah, this is, thank you for showing that, Scott. But yeah, this is something what we always wanted to do, to plan it. And as you probably remember, Scott, we played the first game of Mandala together. It was March 2020, I guess so, right? So
Yeah, it was a while ago, but yeah, that's part of the hardest part of my job is like seeing things that are, going to come out a year later and having to, both keep my lid on things and not spill any of the beans and everything, but also, be excited about it. So
you remember how many versions of the cover you saw, right?
quite a bit, yes. And I think you guys landed on something that's gorgeous.
And when it comes to Mandala Stones, so this is a game that we have we were very confident in the quality and the success of its release. So as you can see here on the screen, already for the first print, and this is basically an early print where there are 22,000 units in that one. There are obviously plans for additional printings along the way, and these are just games that are printed or that are planned without even having the full pre-order numbers in, right? So these are plans already for the amount of success that we know that this game is going to have.
And actually, I need to admit that the most of the games which you see here from this number are already pre-booked or booked by the partners. And this includes also the language localizations. So the game will kick the market with a huge amount of the first print. So I'm super happy about it. I'm super excited. And our initial plan, as you remember, Rainer, was lower than this, and
Yes.
we needed to increase it because there was a huge interest about the game. So I'm very excited about this one, and I can't wait to see it on the table of the gamers.
And one of the things that so this is the price point for this is $40, and it comes packed with uh, the amount of content that comes in it, particularly from a component standpoint. There are 96 of these. Basically, they're over an inch large, 28 millimeters, so 1.1 inch large ebonite discs, and so nice high quality components with a gameplay where basically every round you have two simple decisions. Your decisions are to either collect stones from the central player area, adding them to your personal player board, or to score the stones that you have previously collected. Those are the two choices that you make. So from a rule standpoint, and in fact, it's funny. I was writing the teaching scripts that we are using during Spiel Digital for our volunteers, and I basically just copied the 95% of the rule book itself. Just to it's a very concise, very straightforward, and this is how you play the game. These are your decisions, but then the depth of what goes into those, the outcome of those decisions. Yes, it sounds simple that I'm just collecting stones or I'm scoring them, but the amount of information still, because of the multiple colors of stones. There are 4 different colors of stones in the game, and there are 2 different patterns. Those alone give you a lot of decision space for being able to decide what decisions am I making here. Every time that we have shown this, and this is a game that we have also shown both in various stages of gotten feedback on everything from the artwork to the different components and gameplay and so forth. We've been showing this since March. Again, also and in fact, right now, both Philip and I, from the marketing perspective, we are showing this on a weekly basis where we are showing this to various partners. Irek, you have been showing this to distribution partners and stuff to make sure that everyone is ready for this and know what to anticipate, and to make sure that this game can be the best that it can be. Even though it has very simple rules, the depth of gameplay, the freshness to this, and the unique mechanisms have been very appealing for people. It's a game that is easy enough to understand if you have casual gamers. They can sit down and easily pick this up and play it, but there's enough depth for experienced gamers to play it. And in fact, the majority of the people that we have been playing with have been experienced gamers that say that this game is fantastic. Like it was teased earlier, this is one of their anticipated, most anticipated games of 2021. And lots of people also saying that this is a game that is in their mind, that is a good candidate for awards and so forth for next year. So this is something that we're very confident in, both that the fact that this game is going to be successful, but also something that is going to appeal to a much broader spectrum of the people that come into your store, both the casual gamers as well as those that are more experienced, and that crave a deeper experience in their games.
And I will underline that I truly do not remember any other game I saw that was played so many hours with all our partners. I literally can remember a month that I was entering the office every time, and every time I saw someone playing with our partners, the Mandala Stones, through Tabletopia. It's really something unique, also in Board and Dice, and well, I strongly believe in this game, that it will do a lot of good to you guys as well, because I saw the reactions of the partners, of the media partners, of the distribution partners, and of the localization partners, that I truly believe that this game will literally do an awesome job.
Yeah, if you think about the abstract, beautiful games that are the most consistent in retail, things like Azul, things like Hive, things that have been around for multiple years and still continue to be a top seller, I would personally rank this game right up there with them. I've had the opportunity to play this game several times. I think it is absolutely gorgeous, and I think that it is one of these games that you look at and you physically want to play with the game. You immediately get that initial optical reaction, but then when you learn the game and how simple it is, you're like, okay, I either pick or I score and I move forward and everything is going good. And very similar to like we talked about earlier, it's a game that develops itself. It's a game that as you make the decisions, as your opponents make the decisions, you start to have more options and more opportunities, or possibly restrictions. And that leads to a really good experience as these kind of abstract games with light themes on them. So if you have done very well with things like Hive or things like Azul, this is a game that will more than likely be very successful for you. And I think by this time next year, I think this will be the most successful game that we've done with Board and Dice, just in the US, let alone globally for them.
And it is, I mean, it's absolutely no secret that that this game is designed and marketed to be a competitor to those games like Azul and so forth. We're well aware of what the game, what type of competition the game is up against, but we're also very confident in the fact that it will compete. And in the words of many that have played it, and this is something that you can easily see from social media posts by various media and other people that have had a chance to play it, this is a competent competitor that has the potential of displacing Azul, at least for the personal preferences of many of the people that are playing it. Let's also talk about, so we have the Teotihuacan expansion period that is coming out in basically around the March timeframe of next year. And the Teotihuacan line of games, this will be the third expansion, where the first one added asymmetrical player powers and just gave players more advanced options for playing. And whereas the Shadow of Shitle was a smaller expansion, but it just added more of things that players wanted, things that they already have and use, and just gave them more options for the game. The expansion period expansion will basically put a cap on things. It will round out the gameplay experience. Anything that people say, well, what about this other aspect? Will we get gameplay options? This will basically make sure that there are now advanced options for all aspects of the game, and also complete the collection of the game. And I say that because this is both the third expansion and the final expansion for the game. There will not be any other expansion releases after this. This is the end of the expansion content for the game. And that's important from a couple of reasons. One, it means that people who are fans of the game, they know exactly what type of investment they are looking for if they want to have a complete collection of the game. It also means that we know very well the space that this game lives in. We know exactly where there was room for it to be expanded, and that this is it. This is everything that we could do with quality expansion content without just giving gamers a feeling that, well, this was just tacked on or so. No, this is everything that we could expand with the game while keeping the same high quality throughout. And this expansion, we are very, very happy that with the content that it will provide, and it will basically add advanced options in the areas that were previously not explored in a deeper way. So some of the action boards and some of the types of actions that you can do now also have additional advanced options for them. Of course, with it being an expansion, obviously people would need a copy of the base game to play it, but it can also be fully integrated with the previous two expansions. So whether or not people own the previous two, or they decide to pick this one up before any of the other ones, that's up to them based on their personal preferences. Also, if they are playing the game solo, all three expansions do support solo play and contain more aspects for the solo game, where you'll be able to fully incorporate and try out the different things, the options that enrich and expand the gaming experience. All expansions are also modular, so that means that you can introduce them. So just like the first late pre-classic period was a modular expansion, this one is also modular. You can include as little or as much of this as you want. You can throw everything in, and then you have 10 different modules that interact together, or you can try just a few of them. You can even customize the gaming experience to make sure that you get exactly the level of enjoyment that you want out of the game. And you're not going to feel that. It was very important for us for all of these expansions that if you decide to not include a certain aspect, you're not going to feel that something is missing. You're still going to feel that you get value out of the expansion content that it provides, but you're not going to feel that you're missing out on something if you decided that a particular module was not for you. At the same time, if you play with everything, you're not going to feel that the game suddenly became this complicated spaghetti mess of things, but rather everything was designed to work together, to integrate together, to provide you a whole and complete experience. And as we said on the previous slide, with this expansion, that really completes the collection of it. This completes the full, deepest experience that you could have with Teotihuacan as a game and as a complete line of games. Finally, let's just remind everyone, we do talk about this during each of our presentations and webinars, and I just want to touch again on the identity of us as a company and our brand, where we focus on being able to show our loyalty towards you with the content that we provide with these webinars. We have had the care packages this year that we have given you access to make sure that you have things that you need to feel supported as a store. We have the media kits and the marketing materials, where we want to make sure that you have everything that you need to be both well informed of our games and to be able to sell them, and to customize really how you're selling the games in a way that makes sense for your customers and the people that come to your store. We know that you know the people in your local area the best. And we just want to equip you with the tools and the information that you need in order to sell to them to the best of your ability. We also show our support, and we help you grow, and we grow on our own through many of the things that we've been doing, in particular this year that has been a year of challenging, but it's also been a year of growth for us. Despite the gloomy lookout on the situation that a lot of companies have experienced, we have taken this as an opportunity to grow as a company, to evaluate new avenues to secure and strengthen our relationships with various partners, and to also expand in areas, particularly when it comes to the digital platforms, making sure that we have versions of all of our games available in Tabletopia, both for internal testing and to do demos with various partners, making sure that those who will be distributing and selling the games can have access to making informed decisions. We also do a lot of put a lot of effort and emphasis into how we support these products, how we market them, how we sell them, and how we help build the excitement for the games through social media, how we support them once they are becoming available and once they have released, through the information that is available to sales reps via emails, the information that you have access to in the media kits, and so forth. We're also continuing to expand in particular in the digital space. We know that this is a space that is definitely related to the future. We have updated our plans for how we market our games. We have changed basically this year, despite all the challenges. We have effectively made it so that we have the games available and ready and complete 6 months sooner than in the past, just so that we can put the best planned emphasis on how we sell, market, and promote these games, and also so that we can help provide all the tools necessary for anyone else who's working with us, whether that be from a media side of things or from the distribution and sales channels. We are also constantly evaluating the relationships with the factories to make sure that we can put them test their limits of the level of quality and components and standards for production for the games. And then of course we continue to work on improving our communication, the information that we do from a sales point of view. Again, this is something that goes back to what Scott said earlier. This is a business relationship. It's a long-term partnership. We are not just concerned about the games that are coming out now, but we have plans that stretch years in the future with regards to how we make plans for our games, for our brand, and our ability to support them and to increase and grow in all of the aspects of the game of the business, not just the things that you see. It's not just a matter of being able to have a good game that we put artwork on and print it and send it to you. This is about how we conduct ourselves and how we show our core values and our identity in all levels of business and all the aspects of the things that we do.
I have a quick question for you guys, actually.
Yes.
So there's been a couple that have come in on chat. So Sean made a comment, which I think is great. I just want to bring up, because it's just sent to us as the panelists and not to everybody. But he said, how you guys have gone about including mini expansions and having the modularity has really helped from a selling standpoint, being able to point those out to customers as massively replayable instead of just having to upsell dozens of separate small expansions, that he's really appreciative of that. And then Derek asked a question, can you please type a link into the media kits? Irek just did that. So you've got it in there as Dropbox. So that's good to go. There's a lot of stuff on there. And I always like to give a shout out to this. Board and Dice do a great job of marketing their products on social media in a way that makes it stand out and separate from the noise. They're very, very like in tune, not just with pop culture, but with their brand and with the people that support their brand. So if you don't follow them on like Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or anything like that, take the time to do that, because they do some really, really cool stuff on there. So.
And it's a good point that you bring up as well, is that when we talk to not just how we present our brand, but the way we communicate with people, with our media partners. We do so in a way that makes us unique, and a way that we will be remembered. Even just something as simple as, and you have experienced this directly, Scott, the candy that I share at conventions,
Yep.
as a tool to communicate and build relationships and work on those things with media and others. It's little things that we do in all levels of. Some of them are visible, for example, on social media. Yes, definitely follow us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Those are visible things with how we interact with fans of the games. But we do these levels of communication and put the same care into all levels of the things that we do, even if it's not always seen basically from visibly from everyone who is following our brand.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we're a couple of minutes over. I want to be respectful of everybody's time. So I think this is a great stopping point. But as a reminder, if you're here live, we'll email you the link to the presentation so you have it. If you're watching this on YouTube, please take a moment to like and share and subscribe so you can get notified for all the future stuff. But we'll make sure to have the link in that below the video so you can grab that as well. As mentioned, the media kit's there as well. Just great, great resources. So with that, gentlemen, thank you very much. Always a pleasure to see you guys, even if it's not in person. It's as close to in person as we can get. Looking forward to a fun weekend with Spiel, and I guess, Rainer, I will see you on Sunday as we have a date for Spiel online. Retailers, thank you all very much for taking the time to join as well. We really do appreciate it. If you do have any questions about this or anything else, you can always feel free to reach out to me directly. My email is smorris@gtsdistribution.com. But until we see you next time, thank you so much for your support and have a great week in your stores.